And is this? I think this is live. Yeah. So we had a few slight problems there with getting YouTube to work. I'm still not entirely sure whether it's Facebook or YouTube that's playing up there,
or anything.
Well, it was YouTube was thinking,
Silly.
yeah. So we brought a guest with us today. We brought Sally up from the start.
She's on the floor. She's going to be a complete pest. So
we thought we'd see. We'll see if it works. Oh, I'm going to turn. Let's mute that. I don't want to be hearing myself. It looks like YouTube has caught up as well. Brilliant.
Hey,
okay,
hello.
Cool. We're all good. Give us something in the chat if it is all going through. That's good. So what have we got today?
Well, today we've got several different topics. We've got a few things that I think will really interest everybody. I'm going to start, as usual, with rats around the world.
Rats around the world. And
Yep.
we have our guest rat around the world.
We do our pest rat, more like,
Pest
because
rat.
she's running around everywhere, making an idiot of herself. So
Yeah,
we'll
thanks,
see how she
Sally.
goes.
Well, Sally, if you behave and you do well, then you can be our constant guest, can't you? Yeah, you'd be our constant guest. Yeah, good girl.
I'll just let you babysit while I get on with this article.
Oh yeah, go on then. Rats around the world. Go ahead.
Rats around the world. This amused me greatly today when I read it. It's from the Independent, so if you want to have a look on the link, you are more than welcome.
I can show us the link. Let's have a look.
There it is, and it's sort of
Give
giving
you the
away
mouse
the.
so you can scroll down the page.
It's sort of giving away the
you have
game
to scroll
really,
it over there.
because this rat has something very, very unusual about its anatomy. All right, I'm just going to show you briefly there what's going on with it.
I don't see. Is there a picture that was there?
There was a picture there.
So
yeah.
what's the deal with?
Okay.
I want to know.
So what we've got here is a hog-nosed shrew rat. It's a brand new species. It's on an island just off Indonesia, which apparently has quite a lot of different rodents on it. Never been discovered before. Been lots and lots of pictures, and I've trawled them all on the internet trying to find out something about the rat's most interesting feature. Some of the features it has are unusually large ears, a bulky build. It weighs about 250 grams, so compared to our rats, it's not
That's quite
huge.
small, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
That's big mouse size, really.
It's quite mousy. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
described as having a bulky build. And a snub nose. Another really interesting feature that I saw was
Is that it? That's it.
yeah,
That's
there it is there. Yeah. It's actually got,
It's all about you, Sally.
if you have a look at this article, you'll see some more pictures. It's actually got fingernails, like human fingernails, rather than claws coming out of the end of the toes.
That's got really weird teeth.
It has got very, very long teeth as well that actually protrude outside of the mouth.
Sally, no, not the banana.
But probably the most interesting feature to a lot of us with dirty minds is that it has very unusual pubic hair. The pubic hair on both genders is very, very long, and it's not like you would expect. It's not curly or anything. It's actually like it's got whiskers in that area. So
Does it give an indication of what they use them for, or why they've got them?
don't know. Maybe it enhances their sexual experience.
That's a bit of an unusual.
I don't know.
So is this is a completely new species discovered that they didn't previously know of?
And nobody seems to know, why the headlining pubic whiskers have occurred in the rat, or what purpose they serve. But the real bummer is that I've been off work because it's the Easter holidays, and I've trawled the internet looking for these willy whiskers. Is there a picture of them?
You couldn't find anything?
Not on your life. No, plenty pictures of that little cutie, but not of the area that's generating the most interest.
Well, I guess if they're newly discovered, there's not going to be huge amounts of pictures, but that's quite interesting.
Well, they obviously know they've got them. Pouchy owners, just on the same sort of subject. Anyone who's got a pouchy, have a look at the backs of their front legs, because something that I really, really love about these species.
Sally, no.
Sally's stealing everything. Something I really love about them is that they've got actual whiskers on the backs of their legs, and all I can think of is that because they're nocturnal, it might help them sense where things are and find their way around in the dark.
That is it's something I noticed, and the fancies don't have it. So
No,
it
they
must
don't.
be,
No.
Yeah, something.
I don't think we're going to be able to see in this light.
No,
But
you can see them. It's
yeah, they're really quite visible in real life. But she's not going to stay still enough, are
It's
you?
very good. Do you know what's also really, really interesting?
What?
Is that we should run our intro.
Oh, didn't do that.
Shall we run the intro?
I think we need to run the intro.
Let's run the intro. There's the intro. Oh, the camera's gone all wobbly. There we go. Trying to get myself in there because he was missing half my face, and that's obviously really.
Oh no, we can't have that because you're the star feature.
Of course.
Right. I think what I will do now is hand over to you because you made a really interesting and informative video during the week that you might want to talk about.
So that's So this was yesterday. It wasn't. You can take the beast. This was. I managed to record like a bit of aggressive behaviour from Bob. Now Bob's not an aggressive rat by any means. He's been slightly more aggressive with you, isn't he, at the moment, or of late? Than he has been before, at least.
It started really a couple of months ago.
Well, I think the males go through this stage anyway. The males get to a stage where they just like being a bit. They potentially can become a bit aggressive. The hormones start to kick in around the year mark.
Yeah, not even aggressive in an angry way. Just very dominating, very sexualised.
I think they do, and I think this is where you got the stark contrast because the boys, they can be very lovely as they get older, but it does, you go for that horrible stage at a year, and we have seen it in two of ours. So yeah, it's definitely. But anyway, so what I filmed, and it is on our Facebook group, is him attacking this piece of our cat stand. Now we're babysitting a male pouchy called Dover at the moment, which is Arthur's daddy. And he's been having a run around as well, and I think that's probably put Bob's nose out of joint a little bit. Potentially could be the reason for him doing it, but it was. I mean, in the video you can clearly see that slight other side where he's not playing with it. I mean, we've seen videos of Sally playing, we've seen videos of the others when they play, and other people's pouches that when they play and they popcorn around. But this was biting, wasn't it? He was tearing chunks out. This him actually biting it. A real good way of showing, how potentially aggressive they can be, really, and I just had to get that on camera because it's not something you can really see too often.
I think one of the successes of the Facebook group and also one of the scourges is how many people are interested in having these rats now. And like all things on social media, really, people see the good side of things, they see the funny side, they see the cute side, and it's good to celebrate your successes. But it's that little bit harder to admit when things do go wrong.
Well, this is something that...
And that's across all social media. That's even like a bad photo of yourself. You don't want that going up on the internet.
Well, this is something that we've all said, haven't we? All of us involved.
We need to concentrate more on the pitfalls and give people possibly a more realistic view.
We get a bit of a rock and a hard place, don't we? Because if we show all the bad stuff, then we haven't really got a community, because a lot of the community is driven by people who like animals, who want to see animals.
Oh yeah, nobody wants to see my arms that are covered in bite marks, particularly.
But at the same time, we're also responsible for protecting these animals from potentially being rehomed or having problems. So we've got to make sure that what we're selling or what we're showing them to be online is a real world representation, and it is a hard balance between the two. So I think that video is really important, just to show what they can be like.
Yeah, as I sit here with this hand-reared little ball of fluff.
This is another thing. I mean, I think it's easy to misunderstand that. Oh, this is what they're like, and she's quite frankly a bit of a freak of nature in the way that she acts.
She's not. Yeah, she's not had a normal rat upbringing. She doesn't like other rats. She liked her little brother, but she's not bothered he's gone. She just doesn't seem to realise that she's a rat.
I mean, we will probably
think she's human.
Well, hopefully, if she will tolerate other babies, right? Because she doesn't tolerate adults whatsoever, but she seems quite tolerant of babies, and she seems to quite enjoy their company. She can essentially help sort of babysit them as such, like teach them how to be humanised?
Well, if the breeding program goes ahead in the way that we want it to, and we can talk about that in a little while, she can be what we would call the nanny rat. So she'll take the babies on when they leave their mother, and it's a transition towards possibly living with an older rat if people want to take one on.
Well, this makes a point, because I was looking through some studies that were done of them in the wild, and it'd been observed that generally the females kick the babies out when they start to approach anything between 6 weeks and 12 weeks. At some point between that, they'll leave. And they tend to go and live with one of their older siblings from the last litter, and they'll hang around them for a lot longer, maybe a couple of months, before they then go off. They try and find their own mate, or they try and find their own debt. So they'll be sharing that space with them. So it's not completely abnormal for that, for one to basically go with a juvenile and learn the ropes as such. So yeah, that's quite an interesting thing, isn't it?
It's all to do with transition, really, which I guess is another topic we're going to talk about a little bit in a little while. On the back of talking about Bob, he has attacked me, he has broken the skin quite badly. Within 10 seconds, Lewis dragged him off me, or it could have been worse. What we would recommend owners or potential owners to do, and it's a life lesson as well, really, is to have your tetanus up to date. I mean, I hadn't had one. Oh, Sally!
Let me get her.
I hadn't had a tetanus since school, and I think that a lot of people are in the same position, that they just don't get their boosters done. When we went to Tanzania last year, we had to get tetanus plus malaria things plus. I think we had 3 jabs all in all, and tetanus was one of them. So we're covered for 10 years, and it's well worth considering if you're an owner or if you're in contact.
I think that's a fair thing to say about all animals, though. If you keep animals, it's worth doing in general. Dare I say, maybe even children.
Yeah. Human bites are poisonous. I've had lots of different jabs because I've worked in schools that could be considered higher risk in terms of getting scratched or bitten or spat on, and yeah, human mouths are pretty disgusting places.
Oh yeah. What else have we got today?
We'd approached the Dover house guest thing, hadn't we?
We have.
Maybe we can talk about Dover then.
Let's talk about Dover.
Dover came from Belgium originally. He's come along with his companion, his lady companion called Khaleesi, and they just happened to be Arthur's mum and dad. And we were fortunate enough that we've been able to get in touch with the current owners now. They don't live very far away, and they're on holiday, so Dover has come to stay with us. And he is currently wining and dining and romancing Alice. Yes. Alice is from Germany. They're not related at all. So it's a brilliant opportunity really to try and widen the gene pool and hopefully get some babies. We haven't seen them mate yet. I went down at about 5 o'clock this morning because there was an absolute load of racket going on in the cage, and I could hear balls and things flying everywhere. And it turned out that Alice was mounting Dover, and that's not really quite the way we were hoping it would go.
No, I think she kind of got it a bit wrong there.
But watch this space. In other news, Alice and Bob are a year old on the 16th. When is that? Today's
16th,
the 12th.
No, so that's next week.
Tuesday, they're both a year old. So we'll be doing a little happy birthday set for them, hopefully.
Oh yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Another thing that Dover's learned to do actually while he's been with us is use the toilet. He did, didn't he? Yeah. He did. I don't know whether other people are familiar with this, but pouched rats in the wild, naturally they're very clean. They go to the toilet over water, so it could be a puddle or a stream, or anything they can find. From a very young age, Arthur learned to use the human toilet, and that's all he uses now. But they all have. Ow, Sally!
They're not all like that, though, are they?
No. Arthur's pretty unique in that respect.
Some of the others will, given half the chance, do it somewhere.
Well, Bob likes the bath, doesn't he? He likes the plug hole over the bath. That's his chosen spot.
That is his chosen spot.
And within half a day of Dover going into the cage with the water bowl in there, he used it. He missed first time, but we can let him off with that. So yeah, he's learned a new trick already. Let's hope he learns a few more and we'll have some babies soon.
I think the pain has been because we've now got essentially 3 males in the house.
Yeah.
And no one of them 3 males will tolerate another one.
No, they won't.
And we like to have them all free roaming, so we're having to spend, I would say, a little bit longer now with them out.
Yeah, we've got
to make sure they all get their time.
We've got 3 shifts going on at the moment, but even though Arthur's neutered, he's very, very aggressive towards Bob. And he sends Bob flying, he pulls fur out of him and everything. We've only tried it once, so that won't be happening again. So yeah, it's a big commitment when you've got these groups that you have to keep separate.
It can be a real pain.
At 9 o'clock it's pouch o'clock and everything else gets squeezed into the couple of hours before we have to go to work, isn't it?
But it really outlines, I mean, I think it's something that we try and play up, I mean, the amount of out time they need. But it's really hard to really put it home how much you give up. You know, you can't go out and stay out. You can't go to the pub and roll in at like
if
midnight.
we go for a meal, we're back by 9 o'clock.
When you can picture it when you're with friends and you're sitting there and you're having a lovely time, but I must go back and let my rats out. And people look at you like you're mad.
In addition to which, I've got a lot of fancy rats, so the first half of my evenings and weekends is given over to them, making sure that they're clean and exercised and fed and mated, because I breed those as well. So it's a big commitment.
Yeah, I must say I liked. I saw change of subject, the Facebook poem type thing that Linda did about the soap. Did
you get that? Because it was way before your time.
I didn't get the.
It wasn't a poem.
Was it not?
No. It was a twist on lyrics from a song called Rebel Yell, and 80s Billy Idol. Anyone who's unlucky enough to remember the 80s might remember that.
Well, I can't say I got that. I didn't get that.
No, oh, that's a shame. Yeah, it's a Billy Idol song. It's been in my head all day now. Thank you, Linda.
That was one of the obsession with soap of all things.
Fat content?
Well, I don't think so.
They like wax candles as well. Rats, I mean, fancy rats generally will eat a candle if they can.
Well, yeah, but
that's
they're scented and they're.
Where's she gone?
She's playing in. She's playing in the bin.
In the bin. Oh, silly.
This is what. Yeah, I don't know. I find that odd. None of ours go anywhere near any soap or anything, do they? But...
Well, we don't have bars of soap, do we?
No, but they don't lick the ends of the thingies, dispensers.
Yeah, it's just yours, Linda. You've got weird ones. It's just yours.
Wanting so well, it's just funny, that big mouth like
it's a fantastic picture. If you can get onto the Facebook group, do have a look. There's quite a lot going on there at the moment. It's quite lively, and I've also got to personally thank John Matthews, because he's been working incredibly hard behind the scenes and managing the Twitter account. He must be doing a brilliant job, because the viewings, I don't know what they're called, viewings, ratings, I don't do Twitter.
Yeah, like just the interactions, I guess.
Yeah, there's a lot of interactions. Things are going sky high on there, which is really good news. So thank you, John. Much appreciated.
And this will be the third time we've done this live stream now, isn't it? And I think it's kind of, we don't have a huge audience because it's not a big interest group.
No, it's a very selective hobby.
But the aim for us to do this was that it was so hard for us to keep doing relevant news and to do emails and things to people, and this was actually quite a good way of doing it, to make it relevant to people.
Yeah.
And I think it's worked.
I
think it's worked. But we've not been doing any real active promotion of it, have we, yet?
No,
so
not exactly.
I think coming into next week we'll probably do a bit more. We'll see if we can get a bit more interaction with these. We can try a couple of different things. I mean, we're trying this whole with having the Beast of Burden out today.
The Beast of Burden.
Oh, she is.
You're a pest. You know you are. She's very vocal. She really is. Extra special, aren't you?
I would love
Yeah.
to know the reasons for all the noise that she makes. It's baby noises.
A lot of it is the noises that a young rat will make when they're suckling from their mother. This peeping and squeaking. And it's something that she never had. I mean, from the age of 3 days, she was all she had was the end of a syringe. But definitely a difference with her. She is definitely different.
Well, just she's needy. I mean, that's not a bad thing for a pet to be needy.
Having said that, I would hate to think that anybody would think, oh, this is a green flag for hand rearing one, because it really isn't. It was an absolute last resort, and it was very, very hard work and just sheer heartbreak at times, because she kept flagging and we thought she'd go. I think she's been lucky, and so have we. Who's been even luckier though? Someone we said goodbye to last week. Floki. Do you want to tell people how Floki's getting on?
Yeah, we should update one on Floki.
Yeah.
He's settled in like a piece of a puzzle, hasn't he, in his new home?
It's just perfect. The transition really has been completely seamless, and all credit to Annette Reynolds and her husband Simon. They've done a brilliant job with him. He just literally plopped from one home to another.
Well, we were concerned, wasn't we, that he would go a bit quiet, a bit reserved. He wouldn't like the move, but absolutely fine.
Oh, yeah, I felt quite insulted. Really, he could at least have been off his food for a day or two, or hidden in a corner. But there was no.
I mean, there was us both getting a bit teary at saying goodbye to him, and he doesn't care. He's gone straight off.
He's so confident, and this was an animal that wasn't hand reared. This was one that had stayed with his mum and been a single baby, and then had nanny rat to play with for a couple of weeks before he went. So yeah, we're incredibly proud of him and really proud of his new owners. Again, look on the Facebook group and you'll see lots of videos of Floki. Annette is absolutely besotted with him, and I think the feeling is mutual. So
I think the litmus test here will be, because we don't have, where the society's kind of rebooted from what it was back in the day, we've kind of lost a lot of that knowledge in what they were like as little ones. The litmus test is going to be whether it happens again and again, and we can keep them nice and tame.
Yeah.
By doing what we're doing, and then we know that whatever we're doing works. I mean, I think there's a lot more to it. I think it's the parents as well, and
yeah, and these dreaded hormones that people have been coming up against. When we posted the video of Bob exerting his authority, a lot of people did reply and say, yeah, we've had trouble with ours as well. They go through a stage. Bob was a lovely little baby. Bob was absolutely gorgeous. I used to pick him up and just carry him around the house. We used to call him a gentleman rat, didn't we?
Oh, we did, yeah. But they get to that age, and he might go back to that as he gets older. He might not. But the main important thing is that we will still love him regardless.
He will still be here.
He'll still get the same amount of attention. And
yeah.
But this brings back to. I've been asked this a couple of times, but can't, in the same way that fancy rats have been bred. The temperament has been changed, and the same goes for different colours and the bits. People say to me, can't you do the same thing? Can't you sort of breed these in that same way? And it's actually quite interesting when you look at the reasons why it's never going to be possible with these guys. I mean, take for example, let's take dogs as an example. Yeah, we know.
Carry on.
Dogs have been bred from ultimately their ancestors, which are wolves, and how long it's taken for them to be morphed by humans into something that's a lot more domesticated. Yeah. It's taken hundreds of years to get to that point, even longer. So they've been there since some of the early hominins left Africa. So for that reason, I think it takes more time than these could possibly have, because you've got to think that these lifespan wise, it's not that far from a dog, really, is it? So you're probably looking at the same sort of period.
It's what we're hoping for, anyway.
But you compare these to, say, fancy rats or fancy mice, the shorter lifespan, the quicker turnaround of how often and how many babies they have. It's much, much easier to have that impact on them and morph that temperament in a different way. Yeah,
although it's going to be years and years of work, we are definitely in it for the long haul.
Well, there's only so much that we can really do, but I think picking, the best in terms of temperament that breeds, and making sure that, we know, she's just, you're incapable of being quiet today, are you?
Well, we're out of time.
I think we are out of time.
We are.
Have we got anything small we can tack on to the end of this?
Only that in 2 weeks' time we might have some baby news. Everything crossed.
We have got a date on the calendar that could be.
There could be more little Sellies and Flokies coming into the world. So.
Yeah, we sort of left it in well, not left it in their hands is probably not the right word, but we tried to base it on Selly. No. When she was basically acting back in season, when she was interested in Bob again, and they seemed straight back on it. But we need to kind of balance now about how often they'll be allowed to.
You say that they were apart for a couple of weeks after Floki was weaned, and Bob began to get very, very upset and depressed, didn't he? Oh yeah. He was having some real psychological problems. They were in the same room, and he was just calling for her the whole time and going off his food. And it was a really difficult balance as to whether to let him back in. But on balance, I think it's worked. They're happy. They're happy.
I don't know. I mean, I've said it before, but you do get stuck in a bit of a rock and a hard place, because do you keep the male away so that the female gets a nice big gap between litters? Because it's not that we don't want to have litter after litter. It's not in our interest. It's not in the mother's interest.
No.
But if it's going to put the male's mental health at risk, if it's going to put potentially the females as well, if she's pining for the male, what's the best thing to do?
I think also in Lolo's favour, it's not as harsh as it sounds, because she had a single baby which she didn't rear, and then she had another single baby which didn't take any physical toll on her whatsoever. I mean, I think if she was to have a fairly large litter, then I would probably want to say let's give it a couple of months before she went back with them again. But got to take it as it comes. Yeah, just got to watch this space. We're learning along with everybody else. It's all new. Should we have a quick scoop for the comments? Yeah. That we've got. So. Sally, no. No. I don't know how well having you out has worked today. I think it's been awful. You think it's been awful? Yeah. What does everyone else think? Has it been awful having her out, or has it been entertaining watching us chase her around? Do let us know. Right, in the comments we've got. Alan joined. Oh, hello, Alan. It's really nice to see you. That's good. We've got. Spreading the word. Spreading the word. One member of my music group is. Oh, that's brilliant. That's nice. What was it the other day you said where someone was in the vets, and they were talking to someone, and they said, they know Arthur. It's a fellow fancy rat owner that I know through the society and showing. Took her fancy rats to the vets that we take the pouchies to, and they mentioned Arthur. Said, there's a lady in here who brings really, really big rats in to see us and have treatment. And she went, I know her. Yeah. And they said, Arthur's quite a legend, because I don't know if many people know Arthur was really, really unwell last year and had two stays in hospital where he bit everybody bar one vet. So just one vet that he was all right. Yeah. So he's earned a bit of a name as a rogue, which he's not really. He's a pussy cat, but yeah, he's all well now. But yeah, we're getting a bit of a reputation. There's a local what's it called? Is it Pound Stretcher? Yeah. We're going Pound Stretcher in Basildon now and again, and one of the ladies behind the till knows who we are. You've got the pouched rat, haven't you? Yeah. So yeah, the rats are getting a little bit famous, which is quite funny. But yeah, I mean, going back to what we can do with this live stream. I mean, I'm now this is sort of progressing. I'm up for getting more people to talk on this. You guys will get bored if it's just me and Claire talking every 2 weeks. But there's so many people that we know who I'm sure would be willing to jump in and say some things. Really interesting people. We've got professors who have studied them that we know in the wild.
We've got guys at Popo that can talk about what they do, and we can easily put some of that on the live stream. I think people would really like that, and they can ask some live questions. So I think now we've got things properly progressing. Let's organise some fun things. Let's get something good.
Let's do it.
Yeah. And
What do you think?
I think on that note, we're probably unpouched.
All right.
Do you think we're unpouched?
I think so.
What about you, Sally?
Do you think we are?
Thanks to everyone who was watching.
There she is.
Got a couple of new names on there that I can see. That's brilliant. That's really good. Hi, Pablo. Yeah, excellent. Right, we shall see everyone in 2 weeks' time.
Bye for now.
Bye for now.